What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz, coming to you live on Facebook and then eventually going to be put up on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. I'm pretty excited today to bring you guys something that is a little more unique. You know, I think a lot of people loved having Jordan on recently talking about strictly real estate investing. Today, we're going to talk about something that's super cool from a good buddy of mine, Dean. And you're going to love it. There's going to be a lot of great stuff going on here. So, Dean, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Man, we're busy. We're running around crazy, chasing deals, doing deals, selling deals, just hanging on by the seat of our pants, man.
I know. You know, it's funny because we were supposed to do the interview earlier, and you're like, dude, I picked up 3 more properties today. I just couldn't make it, and which is exciting. That's good for you. And I'm just glad that you got an opportunity to sort of jump on with me and, start talking.
Absolutely. So, yeah, happy to be here, man. Cool. Let's jump into it.
Cool. Let's get into it because I know you're busy. I'm busy too. Like I've been smashing all day. I just got done doing my videographers here, so I'm busy as hell. So real quick, for those of you, for the people that are watching that don't know you or people that are listening that don't know you, give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Real quick highlight of kind of where I've come and who I am. So coming right out of college, I had a good career college in football, and so I had a shot at the NFL with the San Diego Chargers and was with them in 2011. Was doing great. North Turner, stopped me in the halls, told me, hey, you're going to have a long career. But then a light bulb went off. I had a concussion. The story of concussions were in ESPN every day. And it kind of scared the hell out of me. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to be a journeyman. I already know that. I wasn't, top pick. But, there's got to be another way to get to this level in another way. So I moved on and moved up to San Francisco and started working for a software company. And then I learned, okay, well, these guys are telling me I can only make so much money. And I'm working my ass off, but I don't see the returns. So right. I quickly started researching how do I get started in real estate with little to no money. And I came across a podcast by Sean Terry. Love podcasts.
Sean Terry. I'm trying to get him on right now. Yeah, I've been reaching out to him. I got his cell phone. I'm trying to call his cell as a last option.
I was going to say, I got a cell phone if you need me to reach.
I want to get him on because it's funny. I hear that same story. I was driving to Yuma. I was in the Marine Corps, and I had been flipping, but I was like, man, I got to find a way to get my own deals. The market was getting tight, and I'm driving to Yuma, and I looked up a podcast, and it was Sean Terry. Ended up going to his event in Scottsdale. This was a long time ago. Met Nasser. I'm having Nasser on. Jordan, like everybody that I hang out with and talk with now, we were all at that freaking event. And I think Sean Terry had just come out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So Sean delivered a ton of value in his podcast, just breaking it down. How do you find deals? How do you talk to sellers? What does a transaction look like? And for me, it was eye-opening how I can find a deal and turn it into money with little to no experience or money. And I thought it to be incredibly eye-opening. And so I would stay up till 2 a.m, wake up at 2 a.m, and just be taking notes, listen to the same podcast over and over again, running through the transactions. And so 3 months, this isn't ordinary for everybody. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's longer. But after 3 months of me going at it and learning, I did my first deal, and I did it with Sean Terry. I took all of his advice, all of his information he gave, and applied it to his market because he was describing his market. And I said, well, I'll just do it there. And so I got the deal under contract. I probably outbid him on the property, called his acquisitions manager up, and sure as heck, Sean got on the phone, said, hey, we'll find a buyer. We've got 30,000 buyers on our buyers list. And he sold it for 12,000. We split it. We both made 6. And did a couple more with him, and then just went from there.
That's awesome, man. What a cool story. And, I think a lot of people don't realize that they can do that too. It's just, and it's funny. So I'm going to put this to the real estate agent perspective because a lot of real estate agents watch this. I say it over and over and over. Just if you just commit to it and you become obsessed with it, you will do it. And not enough agents, they want to listen to stuff, but they never put action behind it. And then they wonder why it's not working, or they give up and they say, well, that didn't work. That doesn't work. I'm not, I didn't make any money. And it's funny. So how many years ago was that for you?
Yeah, 5 years ago. So
5 years ago.
6 years ago, I was with the Chargers. 5 years ago, I'm in San Francisco. I make the decision I'm going to do real estate. The first year was solely focused on wholesaling. Wholesaling is finding a property, getting it under contract, whether it's on market or off market, and then you're selling that contract essentially to an end buyer, usually a cash buyer. They'll help close the transaction with their funds. You get paid the difference of whether an assignment fee or a double close. And so I did that for a year. And after the first year, I think I did about 8 deals. And the last 4 deals, I had been wholesaling to a guy in my local market. I live in San Diego, but I virtually flip houses in Central California between Fresno and Bakersfield and to the coast. And so I was wholesaling to this one guy, and he said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Let's do this together." So 4 years now, I've been flipping houses, and we've been growing it. And this year alone, we're on track to do 100 deals.
That's awesome, man. 100 flips in a year. Real quick, because I heard you say something, and since a lot of real estate agents are going to watch this or listen to it in one form or another, I'm going to ask you the question I think everybody on the investor side almost hates hearing because it just is annoying and old now. But let's say California specifically. I hear agents say all the time, wholesaling's illegal.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think?
You know what? I had this conversation with another agent. Agents can wholesale. Agents can market. It's completely legal. And the other agent I was talking to who ran through this, who actually had the BRE contact him and review his transactions.
Right.
They stated specific legal terminology to explain the transaction. And as long as you are disclosing that you are an agent, it is completely legal. And so there is a right way to do it. There is a wrong way to do it. So if you are an agent looking to wholesale, make sure you look out to legal counsel and make sure.
First.
And here's the important thing is some brokers and legal counsel in some brokerages have no idea about it. They don't understand it, and they say that it's illegal because they're just scared of it and they don't understand it. So you need to you need to team up with folks like yourself, Kris, that understand the intricacies of both sides of the coin and can explain how to do it correctly.
I've experienced it with every broker that we've worked with. They've gone because they knew me, both brokers knew me, and it was kind of made very clear right up front. They're like, "We know you do this, and we don't want the liability." And I'm like, so it's just goofy because if they understood what it was and how it works, they would probably try to teach all of their agents to do it. You can, it's mind blowing. If you can become a decent wholesaler, not even a good one, you would kill it as a real estate agent. You would kill it because you understand how to go out there and find the deals. You understand how to actually learn to negotiate and adjust and help. You're helping people with their specific need. You're creating solutions for things that everybody keeps telling these people they can't. There's no solution for that except to get taken by somebody, but you're actually showing up and giving them quality. You're going to get more listings. You're going to be able to actually renovate and sell properties, wholesale properties, make extra money and make extra capital income. And the best part is if you got the deal and you don't want to flip it, you don't want to renovate it yourself, you give it to an investor who will, and then you're going to get the listing anyways. Yeah. So it's like you're double dipping. It's just mind blowing to me. And there's so much fear because real estate agents genuinely have no idea and they don't want to educate themselves on it, which is okay. That's why I'm doing a lot of this stuff. I feel like I'm hoping eventually over time I can start bridging the gap because agents don't jump on and learn investor-based stuff like where we listen and where we study. It's different. Agents don't do that. They're like, step on, not a bad thing. It just is. They're step on, well, I listened to Tom Ferry today. Tom Ferry is not going to teach you this stuff, the real estate stuff. You know what I mean?
I would almost argue Tom Ferry's he's a genius. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to build a team and basically do more listings and more deals. However, if there's one skill set that if you were to add, looking at yourself as an investor, there's two skill sets that would increase the amount of potential that you have as an individual. It would be the ability to find deals. How do you identify a deal? How do you even look for them? Right. Most people out there don't know even how to find deals. They just rely on other people bringing them to them. So that is a skill set that is where I personally, in my partnership, our team is a big team of 4, me and my business partner and 2 assistants, and we're busy as hell doing 100 deals. But my skill set is acquisitions, how to find deals. I know how to do it and do it every single way and do it right. The second, which is where you can make a lot of money or not make much money, is negotiation. How you communicate with people is incredibly powerful and a skill set that will help you in every aspect of life.
Oh, no doubt. I think you hit it right on the head. I remember I used to spend a lot of time on the phone with Michael Quarles, and that guy is an animal on the phone and an animal with negotiations. He used to beat me up. I remember one day he starts talking to me. I'm on the phone and he just starts firing questions. And I emotionally and physically shut down. Like I was just on the phone. And this is what he told me. He says, do everything you can. How much, give me any price. He says 400,000. He says, do everything you can to not drop the price of that home. I was like, okay. And I eventually just shut down because even though I knew he told me not to take anything a penny less than 400,000, everything he said was pretty damn compelling. And I really felt like I should drop it. And negotiations on the real estate side, if people understood, you're going out and finding a house off market, you're going and communicating with somebody to purchase that home 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar, me personally, in its as-is condition. Do you do it from ARV or as-is?
I do it of ARV typically.
Yeah, see, I do it from its as-is condition. And ARV, yeah, better deals, or ARV, either one. But you're basically communicating with somebody to fill and provide a solution to a need. And if investors can do that, imagine if a real estate agent had that power. Imagine if they deeply understood real estate and understood sales and understand prospecting. And that's where a lot of agents go wrong. And I tell people all the time, dig in, start learning investing, and it'll make you a better agent. It's impossible not to. So since we brought it up, and you don't have to give us all the secret sauce, but since you brought it up, because I think how you do some of your stuff is unique. How do you prospect to find deals?
Yeah, I do it about every which way under the sun. And the more common ways are what other people are doing. I'm doing marketing, but I think some of the other things that set us aside, besides just doing marketing and having an online presence, social media, having a website, getting testimonials and feedback from people to help build credibility.
Wow, magic. Agents, you need to be hearing this.
It's underrated, but it goes a long way. You need to have a presence. They need to know you're not just some person sitting in their underwear in the house. They need to know that you're a real business and you know how to get it done. If you got other people giving testimonials and feedback, that goes a long way. And I would say the other ways, because right now, me and other areas in my market, we're all looking at each other and saying, hey, marketing is slowing down right now. The auctions, they work if you've got a big operation, you're going there every day and you've got a pile of cash. But for the everyday investor, they're kind of slowing up a little bit. They may pick up, down the road, but right now, those two channels are a little bit slower. Where we're seeing a tremendous amount of opportunity is by building relationships. And again, it goes underrated, but building relationships with real estate agents. We have real estate agents calling us every day. I want to
talk about that too.
Yes, we've also developed incredible relationships with other wholesalers. Wholesalers, whether they're brand new, whether they're experienced, at this point, they know we can close. They know we're willing to pay a certain price and get the deal done. So it makes their life easier. They don't have to stress or worry about being able to get the deal done. They make a phone call to me. I'll help them even through the negotiations. I've gone on appointments with agents, gone on appointments with wholesalers, and sat there. While they've sat there, I've negotiated with the actual seller. So if there's anything to take away from that, relationships in every area are going to help you grow your business.
No doubt, man. And what you just said is magic, because it's funny. Same thing. It's just, I keep telling people, you know, some of this, get back to the basics and actually grind on that and then build over time. And, you know, I think one of the other ones that you said, I always tell everybody, you know, we're fighting obscurity. The reason why you're not doing more deals is nobody knows who you are. Yeah. You literally got to get out there and expose yourself, whether it's on, and you know, whether it's social media, shaking hands. I talk to people. I don't care. I'm on the street. I'm pumping gas. I'm talking to people. Hey, you from here? What's going on? Yeah, the weather, right? So what do you do? Oh, you're a plumber? Fantastic. I'm in real estate. You know, it's just like you got to fight obscurity, and I just think that's magic what you said. Now, one of the things that you brought up that I want to ask you about, because I think this is important for the audience that's going to be watching this, as you know, because right now it's live, but we're going to be posting this in a lot of other places. You work a lot with real estate agents. You work a lot with real estate agents, right? So what I would say is, you know, let's say the real estate agents that are watching this, they want to work with other investors. They have access to the MLS, but honestly, they don't know where to start or how to start. Like, how would you groom somebody, or even if they want to go and start finding stuff for you? Yeah. How do they even start, and what should they do?
Okay, so I've got a real passion behind working with agents and training them the right way to evaluate a deal. And to reverse it, if I was an agent wanting to get started, the biggest struggle I see for agents that want to get involved in this side of the business and want to understand what does a good deal look like, they don't put the time and energy to do their research and understand and work with their investors that are willing to put the time in and help train them to truly understand what does a good deal look like. Because agents will send me stuff all the time. Some of them are good agents. They know how to find a deal. They know what a good deal looks like. Most of them they're just sending me junk mail. Right. And one of the things that irks me is they send incomplete information. If I'm telling them I'm ready to buy and they're ready to start looking for me, a lot of times they'll just forward an email from the MLS. They didn't put any due diligence into understanding, is this a good deal? Is it worth looking at? What is the ARV, the after repair value? What might the cost be to renovate and remodel the house? And what do I think as an agent we could buy this house for? I've already talked to the seller's agent. I already have a good feel for what we might be able to get this for. So you're going to get what you put into it. And so just starting out, if you're truly, genuinely interested in getting involved, which I think everybody should, go find an investor who's experienced, who's been there and done it, who is doing a good amount of deals and has a good reputation, and ask them, how do you go about evaluating a deal? How do you understand what a real good comp is? You know, because some agents, they'll just look at price per square foot and they'll look at general comps and they'll just shoot too high. You know, you need to really dial those numbers in to know, is this a risky investment? Is it conservative? Because those numbers really are important.
Right. You know, so with everything you said, now you said one thing that was magic, which was go out and try to find a seasoned investor. If you were a real estate agent and you were watching this, one of the questions that you would probably ask is, well, where do I find that person, or how do I find the education? How do I get started to start learning the ARV or how to dial it in or what to do? Like, so knowing what you know now, how would you guide a real estate agent to get down the path to learn how to either become an investor or work for an investor, as far as education or anything else?
Yeah, that's a great question. As I'm thinking about it here, if I was just getting started out, what I'd probably do is I just go look at the data. And I'm going to go jump on the tax records. I'm going to see all the cash sales that are taking place. Who's actually doing deals? Right? Because you could go look around, bump into, rub shoulders with someone, and they say, "Well, I'm an investor. I'm doing deals," but they've maybe done one deal, couple deals. Maybe they've done no deals. You want to know someone who's a seasoned investor. So the data speaks for itself. Go look at the transaction that's taken place in the past 6 months. What are all the cash transactions? And boom, there's your list. Those are the people actually doing deals. Go talk to all of them. Talk to all of them. Try to get a sit-down meeting. Find out who's the one making decisions or working in acquisitions, and just start picking their brain. If they see you're determined and hungry to bring deals to the table, they'll be willing to give it back. They'll be willing to share information with you and teach you how to find deals like they do.
Right. I try to tell agents, first off, jump on Google and look for investor club meetings, investor groups.
Yes.
Not Meetup. Meetup, I'm not a huge fan of Meetup because it's a hack most of the time. Every time I've screwed around with that, it's always a hack. But actual, structured real estate investment clubs, investment associations, real estate investment associations, and get in there. And usually the real deal people, they're hanging out there, and you'll run into them. You stick your hand out and just introduce yourself. The next one that I always try to tell people is sort of like how you and I started getting into wholesaling. There's a whole lot of information out there. It's on a podcast.
It's all free.
It's all free. You can listen to podcasts. There's so many great podcasts. And some of them are going to suck. And you just got to dig through them and take what you can, start learning. There's others, YouTube. Man, I'm a huge fan of YouTube. I've really become a big fan of YouTube. Some of it's garbage. That's part of it. Some of it's garbage. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, after you have to find a way to become obsessed about it. It's not something like, oh, I listened to a podcast and, that was a good YouTube show I watched with Dean. But you got, like you said it, I was the same way. I remember my wife walking out. It'd be 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And I got to go because I had a job. I was still in the Marine Corps. And I'm in my office, writing out stuff, drawing up plans, trying to create campaigns. It was an obsession. I'm not saying people shouldn't not eat or sleep. I mean, it depends on how you view the world. I don't. I'm still obsessed. But I think you have to find that in you. And when you do, it just starts getting easier. That's the moment when I think you should definitely try to find a mentor of some sort or an investor that's doing it. I did. I apprenticed under a guy for free for a year. For free for a year. I was like, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll do it. I just want to learn what you know. And it was the best decision I personally ever made. So, I think that's great advice that you gave, man. Really, really good advice that you gave.
To hit on your point, Chris, I mean, honestly, if you're not obsessed and passionate about it, you're not going to see the results or as quickly as you want. Because if you don't have a fire underneath, lighting your ass on fire to just absorb this information and then be obsessed about it and figure out how to do it on your own, and then go to someone else who's doing it. If you don't have the courage to go to someone else, you're not going to help accelerate yourself further. And you just got to get out there and do it. You just got to be open and honest with whoever you're talking with. Let them know you're just getting started, but you're hungry, you're eager, and
I think that's a big one. Being humble and just saying, look, I don't know, but man, I just want to learn. I really want to learn this. And it's funny because the investor world's different. The real estate agent world, you say that to another real estate agent, they're kind of like, everybody's like an island. I'm not saying everybody. Look, if you're on here and you're like, well, Chris, that's not true. Okay, then you're the exception. But for the majority, it's like everybody's an island. In the investor community, it seems like it's almost a complete polar opposite. If you're humble and you walk up and just introduce yourself, say, I'm here because I just want to try to learn. I don't know anything, but I know that this is the direction I want to go. Somebody's going to help you.
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many people out there just willing to share information, and so it's on you to go, learn and understand. But I think if you have some grit to you and determination, that's the name of the game. We've seen tremendous momentum to the point where deals are just coming to us at this point. It didn't start that way. I'm putting just as much energy and effort today as I was before, and it's paying off. But it's the consistency and persistence that really you see it start to unfold.
Consistency and persistence, no doubt, man. So with everything that we just said, what would be your recommendations for somebody to read or listen to? Because I know I have my whole list of podcasts. I put them up on my Facebook page before. What would you recommend people listen to if they're trying to get in?
Yeah, my favorite is Sean Terry by far when it comes to podcasts. There's Don Costa. He has the flip.
You did an interview with him, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
That was I listened to yours. I did an interview with him. I'm actually going to have him on here. I did one with talking about farming lawyers, as opposed to going to the courthouse and farming.
Right. That's right. I listened to that.
And yours was killer, man. I love listening to yours. Yeah, Don's a good dude. He's part of Jordan's crew. I just had Jordan Stanley on.
Okay.
And he's over there. So what, the Kingdom Real Estate?
Yep.
Yeah, good people.
Yep.
So what else would you recommend they listen to?
Let's see here. At this point, I almost don't have time to listen to podcasts. I just have my select few favorite. But what are some? What's that?
So what about books?
Oh, books. When it comes to books, you can't beat Robert Kiyosaki's. I mean, that when you look at that, for me, that's how my mindset started churning to thinking of more creative ways to do transactions. Started focusing more on passive income. This last year, we decided, all right, we're just going to start picking up more passive rentals. So, I've got 12 rentals now just from 2017. The next year or so, probably going to start getting into more passive investments like some lending. So there's so many ways to get involved in real estate. Just from the transaction side, all the people that are involved and have a touch and get paid through the transaction. There's the active side as an investor doing flips. Then there's the passive side as rentals, lending money. I mean, you name it. There's so many different ways to get involved in real estate.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And I think what's cool is like we got so much great information pushed in such a short amount of time. And I know you're at the end of your day and you're tired. I'm at the end of my day and tired too. And, so it's like, I'm not going to force us to stay on for a whole hour. I just really wanted people to hear what you specifically say. Cause I think, you and I, we know each other pretty well. And I had you on the radio show when I had my radio show in San Diego, the live radio show on ESPN. And, it's just the way that you present information. It's so clean that I don't really need to talk around it that much. It's magic. And I think everything that we're talking about right now is probably exactly what a lot of agents need to hear. And then as I progress with the stuff that I'm putting out on the Real Estate Blitz to help bring in the lending into the real estate, or not lending, bring in investing into the real estate agent world more, because I'm doing both. I'm doing daily stuff for real estate agents, but I'm also starting to bring in investing. As it progresses and people mature and they start digging into the stuff that we've been listening to for years and reading about for years and doing for years, then we'll probably have you come back on and actually start talking more truth, like getting deep into the numbers and deal structures. And that's the fun stuff for me.
I love getting into the numbers. Chris, if there's one thing that probably sets me apart, just besides communication, is being able to clearly articulate the numbers. And so I think every agent looking to get involved in the investing side, they need to educate themselves on the numbers. They need to understand costs. What are selling costs when you go to sell the property? Not just the realtor fees or closing costs. There's other costs that are involved in the project: property taxes, insurance. You've got holding costs because you're probably using other people's money to finance that deal to leverage and allow you to do more. And so there's that. You need to understand, what is a typical rehab cost? What are the costs to remodel a kitchen and the floors and the bathrooms? And once you start understanding this information, you can articulate that to a seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, if you were to take this project on yourself, I can promise you it's going to be more expensive. Here's what a typical project would cost if you were to do it yourself, and start running through the numbers and explain, look, I'm a professional home buyer. I have discounts built into all this. That's where we make our profit, is because we have a discount on all of our all of our costs. And that's how we're able to purchase it at a price that makes sense for me and makes sense for you. And it's really a win-win for both and a fair offer. But if you're not able to articulate, they're just going to think, well, why are you lowballing me? And and if you're not able to explain those numbers and say, look, you're not a professional home buyer, you don't have experience managing contractors. If you go hire some random roofer and he takes your $10,000 and runs away with it, you're never going to see that money again.
Right.
What if you open up a wall and the electrical shot and you got to replace all electrical? What happens if you discover there's mold behind the wall? And all these things that we anticipate and know how to react well to, these are things you could come across. And and when I compare the numbers and say, here's our offer, net cash deal, here's what you could best case scenario walk away with, it starts to make sense, and they say, well, yeah, I'm going to go with you because I don't have to deal with the stress of remodeling the house and running into issues, and I can get it done in 10 days. I don't have to go through this 6-month remodel and then list it. And so if you're able to articulate and understand the numbers, it goes such a long way.
So you know what I want to do with you, since we got a couple more minutes? So first off, I want to run through everybody that sort of jumped on and said hi real quick, but then I want to geek out for a minute with you. I love doing this. I actually do it a lot on so somebody actually just open it up a can of worms. I know we're getting ready to, but it's so much fun. I enjoy it. And I started doing this for my enjoyment, and I just appreciate that other people enjoy it as well. But this is, it's I still want to have fun. I want to geek. So we're going to look at everybody that wrote, but I want to geek out for a minute. I've been doing it on my own shows, and I'm getting ready to do another one. I just picked up a property right up the street, a rehab property, and deal structure, like a quick down and dirty deal structure. And just say, here's the cost, you know how it works, and just go through and geek out and let people listen to it and see what it actually looks like. And they can be penciling out while they're sitting there, at their desk, wherever they're at right now, they can pen it out. So let's run through everybody real quick and say hi. So Kris, she shot up too. Yep. Open a can of worms. And she wanted to say hello to you.
Hey, how's it going? What's up, Kris? Thanks for joining.
Got Frank, great information. Thanks a lot, Frank. We appreciate that. Frank is a home inspector out here in San Diego. He's awesome. He's one of the best. I love his videos.
Nice.
He actually puts out a lot of good stuff.
He knows how to dig into the details and find the things that need repairs, even after a house has been remodeled.
Yeah, and that's the best part. On top of that, he actually educates people. What I really like about Frank is he takes the time to educate clients and agents. He creates video content. He's really good on social media, and I personally think he's magic, but that's my opinion. Of course, Drew. So he wanted to say hi there.
Drew!
Yeah.
How's it going, buddy?
So let's geek out for a second. Let's talk about any deal structure, because I know you guys are always doing deals. I know you picked up a couple more today. So hammer us with some cool.
Let's dive into some real nitty-gritty numbers. I'll pull them up here because I just spent an hour talking through the numbers with a homeowner in Central California, 2 houses that they have that are rental properties. And I'm going to explain soup to nuts what the whole deal looks like, what is their motivation, how am I providing value to them, and then dig into the numbers and why they're saying, yeah, that sounds like what we want to do. So after that, maybe we dig into how do agents get started? How do they get involved in the investing side of real estate? Whether they want to get involved in learning how to find deals and maybe they want to do flips or wholesales. Maybe they want to find rentals and start building a rental portfolio. Maybe they want to get involved and do passive income and lend to experience, and at least at the beginning should only be experienced investors that you know and trust.
So looking at it, I know you and I sort of talked about this a little bit. Real estate agents, and I think I even did a video recently, real estate agents create chunk money. They create chunk money. And a lot of investors, they will flip properties or wholesale properties to create chunk money. The goal is that eventually you're trying to get into passive income streams or other things where you're working less to create more money on your money. You see what I mean? So I think we definitely need to talk about that too after the deal structure, to tell agents, like, you have the opportunity. Okay, well, I made $200,000 this year. Okay, how much do you need to live? You need $60,000 to live. Then you take the rest of that money. And if you don't want to get into the flip game and you don't, give your money to people that will actually turn your money anywhere from 8%, 10%, 12%, sometimes 20% on your money for doing no work. And you're getting, instead of letting it, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine last night, very extremely successful real estate agent. I don't know if he's on, but he watches. He told me last night, he's like, dude, I watch your stuff all the time. So I'm going to give him a shout out. No, because I'm not going to put because I was going to talk financials. I'm not going to put his business out there, but he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And actually I told him about a deal that you're doing. And I was like, dude, watch the interview that I'm going to do with Dean tomorrow. You need to call this guy. He's got all this money sitting there. I'm like, literally, for every $100,000, think about it. If every we'll make it simpler. Every 6 months, if you could wash that money for 12% and you wash it twice a year, that's 24% return on your money instead of sitting in the bank. What's the bank accounts give nowadays, Dean? You know?
1%, if that.
Oh, that's one hell of a bank. I don't even think they give that, man. You know, and the thing is, a lot of people will buy into the lie. Oh, well, I give mine to a financial, planner. And I'm like, those, and it's, I don't know. I did a video on this too, because I literally came back angry to my office one day and I talked about it. This guy's up there, oh yeah, retirement and we'll put your money here. I says, great, what's the return? Well, it's not about the return. It's about when you retire. I says, it's all about the return because that tells me how I retire. Yeah. Can you give me the numbers on retirement? Like, can you give me any numbers? Can you give me anything on any freaking return? So this is what you're doing. You're going to take my money. You're going to make a bunch of money off of my money. It's going to go to Wall Street. You're going to be getting a cut of all this. And if you look at how it works stocks, right? Well, if it goes up, but it always ends up. No, here's the thing. Every time I lose here, I lose a certain amount of money. It doesn't come back. You got to understand, I got to make up that lost time. And I got to regain that momentum. It's garbage. When now you can do passive stuff, give your money, you got chunk money, give your money to investors, let them make you money, lend money. I love lending money. But anyways, okay, I got lost. I get pumped. I get excited. I purposely have been drinking water because somebody's like, man, you got to cut back the energy drink. So I'm drinking water. I've been drinking water, trying to calm down. All right, so deal structure. Let's get nerdy.
All right, let's get nerdy. So let's talk about 2 deals I have in Central California right now. So let me pull these up. All right, so both of these properties, when I pull up the comps and I look at them, I want to find first and foremost, because you want to start, what can I sell this house for? Both of these houses, as I mentioned, let me talk about what kind of deals, what kind of properties they are, where do they come from. So this person reached out to me through someone else. They knew I was a buyer. They're out of the area, okay? They live more in Northern California. Someone local referred them to us. So they gave me a call and they say, hey, I hear you're an investor. We've got these 2 rental properties. We're out of the area. One of them, the tenant just moved out. One of them has a tenant still in it. They want to do a 1031 exchange.
Nice.
What about a 1031 exchange? You got to line up a property. You got to have the timing of everything right. So your buyer needs to be flexible. So that's one thing. The other thing is we're able to buy the property with the renter in there. I made that clear to him. So that's another thing. And then he's not going to have to manage that project from a distance. A little bit of peace of mind and less stress. I had another investor who I said, let me buy your house. Please, I explain all the numbers to you. Don't put yourself through this. They went against me. They're from Santa Cruz. And they said, hey, the project's a nightmare. I called them back. They said, we're spending way too much money already. We still might end up selling it to you. I said, well, I shared with you that could be an issue, but anyway, so that's the situation. You want to understand the situation. What is their motivation and how can you help them? If you start becoming a person that provides solutions and value rather than just worrying about the money, now you're building a relationship and trust and rapport with this person. And now you're just genuinely trying to figure out a solution and how you can help them. So that is the number one thing that I also feel is able to help me set myself apart when talking to other people. I spend a lot of time with these people on the phone, hours if needed, just to talk through this. So let's get into the numbers. Cool. Did my comps. Both of these houses one's right around the corner. One of them's 1,800 square feet, converted garage, and 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The comps in this neighborhood for this are right around 215. Now, it's only 215 because it has a converted garage. If I were to say, what is a house with a couple hundred less square feet, the size of the garage, a house with a 2-car garage, what does it sell for about? Because that's what we're really comparing against. Just because you converted the garage, there's still going to be people that want that garage. So an appraiser is going to look at that and say, well, what's the adjustment? Because this house isn't really 18 square feet with a 2-car garage. Right. So evaluated. The other house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,650 square feet. So more or less, they're right around $215,000 is what their value is. Okay.
Cool.
When I look at the cost of renovations and remodeling the properties, the first property, it needs all the basics. It's pretty clean inside. It needs a new kitchen. We'll probably keep the cabinets. Needs new flooring. Needs both new bathrooms updated, paint inside and out. It's got brand new AC. The roof is okay. The windows, they're okay for the neighborhood. They're not brand new dual pane, but as you break down all the different numbers, it's right around $25,000 for this neighborhood, this market, based on the price point. So in San Diego, I
want to hit a quick one because agents may not catch this. And I say it all the time to some of our agents. What's the expectation in the neighborhood? And sometimes people, there's a house that I was just at. They couldn't offload the house. The people that were the investors that flipped it, because it's like, okay, so let me get this right. This neighborhood, like everybody has Formica, and you come in here and drop quartz, and you're wondering why nobody's going to pay what. That's crazy. It's insane. So, okay, good. So go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to understand the neighborhood. That is very key. Look at and how you determine that, Chris, is you look at what the comps are. What are they selling at? What are the nicer houses that are selling look like? How long were they on the market? Did they get full price? Was there any sort of price reduction off the sales price? So all of that information is key to look at. And you just want to look at solds. It's good to look at actives and know what your competition is. Is there other house that's in the market that's selling trying to sell above 225, and they've got everything mapped out? They've got a listed for 225, but it's been listed on the market for 60 days. Well, shoot, I'm going to continue to maintain my 215 ARV, and I'm going to remodel it to the same standards. It's going to fly off the shelves because they're going to see my house is better than the other. So these are all things that you can consider. The first house, the one with the 2-car garage, about $25,000 in remodel. The other house, it needs a new roof, has a wood shake roof. That's an immediate, all right, we're going to replace that. The inside of the house is all very similar as well as the previous house. Has the tenant in it, so we're going to go ahead and keep them in there as part of being flexible in all this, and then we'll deal with them. One of the things I told him is, hey, he said, well, I got to give a 60-day notice if the tenant's been there more than a year. I said, that's no problem. We'll go ahead and get it in escrow. We'll align your properties. If we close in 30 days, 45 days, that's no problem. You already gave the tenant notice. So we'll take on however many other days we need to, and that's no problem. And so that house, it has the wood shake roof. It's probably going to be about $32,000 to $35,000 to remodel that house in the neighborhood to be similar condition and standards as the other house I mentioned. So where are we at? $215,000 is about the ARV. We've got about $25,000 to $32,000 between the two properties, and then where's my offer? So let me pull up my deal analyzer here. Let me go through.
I like that. Looking at deal analyzer.
Yep.
That's cool.
So I'm punching.
You got to know your numbers.
Got to know your numbers. So for the first property that has a 2-car garage, when I punch these numbers in, selling it for $215. Again, I've got all my selling costs plugged into my sheet. You got to know your numbers, know what my title and escrow fees are. I know that there's a home warranty. I mean, you can break all this stuff down. I know I'm paying my investor who's lending for us to purchase the property, and we typically give our investors somewhere between 8 and 10%. As a private investor without a broker involved, the max you technically can lend without getting into any sort of issues is technically 10% as of recent. So, of course, we use our 8% money more frequently. We also have 10% lenders. Sometimes we'll do higher as well, but every circumstance is different. So I punch all this in, Chris, and on this deal, it says for this market, let me get rid of that fee. It says we're going to make $30,459 at a 16.51% return. Part of reason I like this market, I grew up there. I know the area. I live in San Diego. I live the San Diego lifestyle, but San Diego's it can be a little bit tougher. You know,
Yep.
people are buying stuff at an 8% ROI, and we're finding stuff, you know, somewhere between 10 and 20. So again, that's why I like the market I'm in. I know it really well, and these are the kind of returns we get. So that's the first deal. The second deal, let me put in 32,000. You can figure it's going to be less. That one's about a $23,459,000 return at a 12.25% return. So if you average them out, it's right around $26,000 each is what we're making, which is pretty standard for what we're looking at based on this price point.
Do 5 of those a month.
Do 5 of those a month, you're doing pretty good. So if you break those numbers down, Chris, how I explain them to the seller was key. Because here's the thing. He's not just someone that says, tell me your number and I'll take it. He's got options. He's got a property manager, okay, who's got resources to contractors. So he's evaluating his options. What if I go ahead and just, you know, do some lipstick on a pig type of remodel and then sell it? What if I list it with an agent as is? I explained, you're going to get an offer from me and someone else for lower, and then you're going to have to pay that agent his fees and closing costs. So you might as well just go with me and save yourself the money and time. His other option is he could put some money into it and rehab and remodel it and sell it. So let's break those numbers down. I explained to him, all right, Mr. Seller, you can sell this house for right around about numbers, right around the $200,000 mark. It might be, you know, plus $10,000. It could also be minus $10,000. You don't always have to give them exactly specific numbers with like, you know, because you actually don't know what you're going to end up selling it for. But I'm very informed and educated on what I think I can sell it for. But now he has a general number. It's right around $200,000. I could sell a little bit more. There's also the chance someone is going to come in lower, and I might have to pay their closing costs because it could be an FHA buyer. All these factors I share with him on the process of selling. I then also explain to him, what are your selling costs? On average, when you actually get down to the final number, it's typically about 10% of what you sell it for. Well, it's 10%. Dean, that sounds too high. Well, let's actually look at the numbers. If you have this property and you've owned it for 3, 4, 5 months while it's on the market, and that includes the escrow process, which could be 30 to 45 days, you could be paying interest on a mortgage during that time. You could be paying property taxes and insurance. You also are going to have your 5 to 6% for a realtor. You're going to have your 2 to 3% for closing costs. You're going to have an inspector come and pick through that house and find everything he possibly can. And even on a remodeled house, they're going to find stuff. At the end of the day, Chris, that's about 10% of whatever you sell it for. So, Mr. Seller, you sell it for $200,000. Right off the top, there goes 10%, 20 grand. Now you're at 180. Mr. Seller, my costs will be about $25,000, and that's because I have the relationships that I've built over the years. I'm not paying a general contract $5,000 to $10,000 to manage the project. I also have discounts on all of the product because I buy them in bulk and I buy them often. So I have these discounts built in. That's where I make my profit. So this $25,000 that it'll take me might cost you anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000. So if you're right off the bat from 200,000 to 180 and you spend another 50, let's just call it 45. Now you're at 135, Mr. Seller, and that is best case scenario. You're managing this project and maybe the contractor runs away with some money, or he takes long, or there's a leak on the property during the rainy season.
There's so many things.
There's so many things. So if we're digging into these numbers and educating them and giving them a ton of rich information, he says, okay, well, I get what you're saying. All of this makes sense. Best case scenario, I'm right about 135 and maybe do a little bit better, 140. So my offer at 140 is basically giving him top dollar based on his circumstances. He's not going to get my rates, but that's where I make my profit. And I explained that to him candidly. That's where I make my profit. And so in your best case scenario, Mr. Seller, you're getting about what we can offer, but I'm paying cash. I'm paying all the closing costs. There's no realtor fees. I'm closing in 10 days. Well, in this case, I'm not going to close in 10 days. I want to give him the flexibility to do his 1031 exchange and keep the renter in there and not cause any issues. So
I'm closing on the day of your choosing. You don't even have to freak out about that. I mean, that's the jewel. That's awesome, man.
So that's a ton of information. You might have to, someone might have to watch it back a couple of times to kind of process all the numbers.
Rewinding this over and over and over and over and over and watching that and trying to break it down. And then when they go out and start doing the research and learning, then it starts to make sense. They can come back and listen to it again. You're 100% right. Yeah, it's in the beginning. You're like, well, that was a lot. It is, and it's not. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that's what I say all the time. So right on, man. Well, it's funny because I thought we were going to go short. Now it looks like we're going to go a little bit long. That's okay. So what we were talking about earlier, getting involved, if since this is mostly for real estate agents, how could real estate agents get involved? What are the things that, you want to talk about?
Yeah. For me, if I was an agent looking to get involved in the investing world, the one thing that helped me accelerate my career as an investor, not an agent, but as an investor, was finding someone who's been there and done it, was experienced, other people respected them in the community. And so as an agent, if I was an agent looking to get started, go find that same person, reach out, look to your peers, who are people speaking highly of, actually talk to them and hear their experiences. Because if there's one thing that I did early on a lending experience was I didn't confirm, right? And I did get my ass handed to me and didn't have a good experience. And that's just because I believe the person and I didn't speak to others. So it is key to make sure they're experienced because the person wasn't, and make sure that they have a good reputation. And if you do that, you can work with someone who knows how to get it done correctly. And let's just be honest, it isn't a perfect investment. It's much more secure, I think, than stocks. The stock market goes up and down every day. You're not buying that stock at a discount. You're buying it at market value and could go down immediately. So in the sense of what is your risk profile, investing in real estate as a lender, you have a secured note backed by real estate. You're the bank. You're becoming the bank. So banks are doing this all the time. You're essentially securing it in the same way that banks do, and you're getting a huge rate of return compared to what are your other options. The stock market, the highest investment returns, they can be great, but on average, maybe 6 to 8%. And real estate.
If the stock market is killing it, so let's say 9%. Let's say they're at 9%. Okay, you're talking about 9% annually. We're talking about being able to take your money and make money on your money anywhere from, I've done deals where it's 2 weeks, 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, never more than 6 months. I've never done a deal longer than 6 months. Well, I'm saying, so for what we're talking about. Now, there's other deals where you can be in it for a couple of years, but that's a whole different animal. Now you're talking about development deals. But, to me, it's like, it's why would you let it? I heard something. I think Grant Cardone was talking about it. And it's funny because I naturally have been doing the same thing and didn't even realize it until I heard him say it. He says, every year I wash out my bank account. I go broke. And I do the same thing. I don't want any money ever sitting there. I would rather I go broke and get it all out, making me money somewhere.
It's not doing anything for you if it's sitting in the bank. Unless you've got a specific investment. Yeah. And hey, it'll make you feel good. But it's not doing any good for you. So unless you have with a 20, 30,000 that made that money and they throw all this money on their bed and they're like sitting on it like they made look, if you were taking pictures of you sitting on a bunch of money on your bed, you don't get it. You don't understand what's going on. Right. That's true. So I think if you can find someone who has the experience, who has a good reputation, you also then know they're going to have the ability when the market changes or shifts to be creative and overcome that. So for you as in your investment, you already have built-in equity because there's a profit in there for that investor. And
right.
Because it is a short-term investment, you're able to, if the market does start to shift, you could reduce your purchase price and have that, overcome. So when you're looking at all your options, that I think that is a great option for agents to get started, understand what does a deal look like. And if you start to build that relationship with that investor, you can look over their shoulder and get an inside view on what the operation looks like. What does a deal look like? How do they successfully go from purchase to sale, and get the experience
right
while making money to understand what an actual deal looks like and what does it feel like. So
that's key, because I've worked with a few people. I had somebody recently reach out to me as well, and they're like, I got X number of dollars. I want to get into investing. Well, how about you lend me the money? I'll spend it, and I'll teach you what I'm doing while I'm spending it.
Right.
And, I personally prefer to do that whenever I can. And I've ended up making some amazing partnerships and friendships from that, and people that I'm always doing deals with, because they started in a humble way and they made money while they were learning. Yeah, it's smart, man. So before we get off, because I hate running too long, and I know you're busy, and it's getting late for me too. This is my only night home tonight, this week with my kids, because it's the holiday. So every night there's an event that we've been going to. Me and the wife, we got invited to another one in downtown San Diego, and I was like, nope, we're not going. We got another one on Friday, so I'm going to get home to the kids. The one thing that I wanted to ask you before we get off, if somebody was watching this, whether it's now or later, how can they look you up? How can they find you? How can they communicate with you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone was wanting to get started and they wanted to understand the business more, they wanted to, as I like to say, lend and learn, or learn while you lend. Get involved in an actual transaction, put their money to work, and start getting involved in the investment side passively, with maybe the intent to continue doing that or start doing some flips themselves. You can reach out to me first and foremost through social media. So Dean Rogers, you can find me on Facebook. Our company page is Home Helpers Group LLC. You can find us on there. You can contact me at dean@homehelpersgroup.com. Or you can even call my cell phone at 559-471-3333. I'm on the phone all day long, talking with sellers, talking with people with money, looking to put it to work. So that is solely what I do in terms of our partnership with my other partner. He manages the projects and a number of other things. And so I'm happy to dive into the details with somebody and create some opportunities together.
Awesome. And then the last one, tell people exactly what markets you're in. So if an agent thinks they have a deal, or they find a deal and they're looking for a quality buyer, what markets are you in, and how can they get same thing? They should be able to get a hold of you from the same spots.
Yeah. So I live in San Diego. That's what I call home. And I will do deals here. I've done deals here. I'll do more deals here. And we have the ability to do that. We just bought a house in Laguna Beach. So, we'll do it wherever the numbers make sense. My primary market, though, is in Central California, between Fresno and Bakersfield, and then over to the Central Coast. And the headquarters is right there in Visalia. Most people in California don't know where that is, but if you look it up on the map, boom, it's right there in Central California, and that's where we crank out a bunch of deals.
Cool, man. Dean, I really appreciate you having you on, joining me, and supporting what I'm kind of doing here now online, as opposed to live radio. Live radio, it's fun, but it's tough. It's and I can't say all the stuff I really want to say. I can't ask the questions that I always wanted to ask. And you did a show with me. They want to stuff in more commercials. Got sponsors, and it's just a pain in the butt. So it was kind of nice to actually start doing this myself. And I remember when I told them, I says, yeah, I think I'm done with radio. And they're like, well, why? Let's keep doing it. I was like, no, I eventually want to do my own thing online. And eventually, which will be in January, that's why I started all these interviews now. That's when we're going to be launching the podcast. So it should be a nice mix of information for agents.
I think these podcasts are amazing, Chris. I think being able to just deliver free content and value to people is where everything is moving. A lot of people want to get started. They don't know how to. Just go look for it. It's out there. And people like yourself that have so much experience and a wealth of knowledge are just willing to share. So I love folks like you. I love the fact you do this, Chris, and appreciate it so much because it just allows people to really learn and have the safety net of other people willing and able to share that information.
Right on, man. Hey, real quick, I want to say thanks a lot, Joseph, Chris, appreciate y'all. Just want to say great talk, and Chris want to say thanks. And I think I'm going to sign us off then. So for everybody that was watching, everybody that's going to see this later, we appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on and watching the Blitz. Be sure to like, share, and comment. I love getting the comments. I reply to all comments. I personally reply to comments. That's on Facebook. That's on YouTube. That's on SoundCloud. I'm always going to reply back to you. I try to do it as fast as I can. So, do me a favor, like, share, comment. If this information is helping you, share it with other people. Don't be the ugly agent that just tries to hoard everything and is greedy. Share it with other people. We're trying to change the industry by helping out each other, banding together to actually help each other keep this industry alive, because some people are trying to take it from us, right? That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for, I'd say it over and over. I'm not a coach. I'm not a guru. I'm not monetizing. I'm not making money off this. I'm doing this because I deeply believe I love real estate and I want to help other people do well and become top-notch professionals so we can keep the industry intact. Dean, as always, thank you much, brother. I appreciate it. If you hold on for a second, I'll talk to you once we log off. And for everybody else, appreciate it. We got a whole bunch of other interviews like this coming up. So just keep on the lookout. I'm going to be posting them on my personal page pretty soon. We're going to be posting them on the Real Estate Blitz Facebook page because it went gangbusters. It's over like 5,000 or 6,000 people now on there. So I'm going to be transitioning that. So if you're on my personal page and you aren't on the Real Estate Blitz Facebook page, you need to go and like that one because all this information and content will be on there full time, or you're going to have to wait until it comes out on YouTube. And we don't post it the same day on YouTube. This one will probably be posted, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 days from now. So make sure that you do that so that way you can keep catching all the live videos that we do. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.